This week, playing on repeat in my head, has been a praise song that I grew up singing in my youth almost every week in church. It starts, "Light of the world, you stepped down into darkness, opened my eyes, let me see." This has been playing on repeat in my head because we're in the Gospel of John. And John's Jesus is all about being the light of the world. And also about this world being very full of darkness. It's sometimes a lot easier to see the darkness that is way out there, reading headlines from other countries about people who are living in poverty and things like that. It's much harder to see the darkness that is right here around us and right within ourselves. But today, I hear Jesus' gospel calling us to illumine that darkness, to be looking at the darkness that is immediately right around us, and to let Jesus bring light to those situations. Particularly today, where we celebrate Girl Scout Sunday, where we celebrate International Women's Day. How many of you knew that was today? And I got some hands, I like it. And we celebrate the baptism of two beautiful girls, children of God, made in God's image. Today, I find that I am compelled to lift up to you the darkness that is around us in terms of valuing some people over others. Particularly on this Women's Day, how often men and boys are valued over women and girls. We celebrate the strong women who have brought these Girl Scouts to us today, the Girl Scout leaders, their mothers. We celebrate what the gifts that they have to offer. And yet, we live in a society, in a world that tells them that what they have to offer is not as good as what men and boys have to offer. This is a darkness that creeps around us, and it's a darkness that we have pushed back in some respects. We have made a lot of strides in gender equality in our country in particular. But sometimes that makes it harder to see the darkness that's around us because it's so much better than it was. And yet, if you speak to the women in your life, you will probably hear their stories, the little shadows that cross their path in terms of being the only woman in the room and being the only one whose voice is ignored, or that her idea was dismissed in that room only to be picked up later by a man. And then that idea is considered and valued and acted on. These are very real ways that gender inequality and sexism actually affect our world, and the Christian church has some culpability in that, in our traditional scriptural interpretation. The story we just had last week about the serpent being crafty and tricking the woman into eating the fruit because she wanted to be more like God. That story has been interpreted to pin all of humanity's sinfulness on woman and women, and that has had detrimental effects in our world. The thing is that valuing some people over others, no matter what the reason, is a false thing that we do. That is not how God created this world to be. God created humanity in God's image. Male and female, God created them in God's image. Beautiful, lovely, calling them beloved children of God. That what we all have to offer is important and valued in God's eyes, even when the world says it's not. We have this part in our baptismal rite that we accidentally skipped today, where our young people are told that Jesus said, "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will have the light of light. Let your light so shine before others so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven." These lights mean something, and we send these candles home with those who are baptized to light it every year to remind them that Jesus is the light of the world and that Jesus has given them that light to be shined forth in this world. Today, we can beat back some of that darkness by looking at the girls who are around us, looking at the women and saying, "I see you. I value you. You are a beloved child of God. And what you have to offer to this world is beautiful and valid, and we will do everything in our power to support you in that." This is how we let the light of Jesus shine in our hearts and in this dark world that needs to hear this message, that Jesus' light can never be overcome by any kind of darkness that we experience in our life, that Jesus' light continues to shine even as we blow out these little candles. It shines in our hearts and in our lives and will continue forever, no matter what darkness we face. Amen. Thanks be to God.